Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the second video of balance. Wait a second, I forgot to say balance time. Oh well, I'll deal with it somehow. And you will have to deal with it as well, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. So today we're talking about heroes from F to O, which includes Ophelia and doesn't go through the heroes that start with P. Now a quick reminder, as you can see some heroes start with T, the Dark Lady. So they're not included in this video because it's after P. So we will start with Ophelia in this video. And in case this time I'm starting on this screen because of various reasons. I've summed everything up and just believe me when I say it's better this way. So we're gonna go through heroes on this screen. Plus they're in alphabetical order and well, you won't see the cool text above the hero icon like in the last video, but in any case. Yeah, I was surprised at the response I got for the last video, and if people are really willing to listen, then I'm more than happy to just talk. But before I start the video, there's something I want to mention, and that is I kind of sort of want to abuse my power. No, I'm not really AFK by the way, bro, but onto the power abuse thing. Basically, I have a couple of suggestions that I would really like implemented in Han. They just make sense, a lot of sense, after you think about it. In any case, I posted a couple of threads on the forums, in the suggestion forum, which I honestly do believe that the suggestion forums are dead, more or less. They're dead. Pretty much no one looks over them, especially not us too, I think. So I wanted to try and maybe revive them, and at the same time abuse the power I have on YouTube. So if you could follow the two links in the description to the suggestion threads on the forums, and just vote and read over the changes again if you want. And it would be better, of course, if you voted yes, because otherwise my abuse of power is useless. And if you try and troll me and vote no, be warned that you cannot change your vote after you do. So, but anyway, I just like, if it's not too much trouble, please, you don't have to register in the forum. It's the same account as your normal one, pretty much, in Han. So, just log in, or if you're already logged in, just vote two changes that make a lot of sense. Would really like you to do that if you could. Otherwise, apart from that, all you have to do is remember to go vote in the poll for what hero I'm playing in the next video. In any case, I'll give a brief summary of the two suggestions I'm proposing really quickly. So, change number one is to the demonic breastplate. Right now, as it stands, the recipe is Soul's Bulwark plus Warp Cleft plus Ring Mail plus the recipe for 900 gold. So I'll put it on the screen with all the prices and stuff. So as you can see, Ring Mail is 550 gold and the recipe is 900 gold, which is 450 gold in total, right? What I am proposing is we change the ring mail and the recipe in this item for a plate mail, so that the item automatically combines. So it will be now as follows. Plate mail is 1400, so it's only 50 gold less, but the build-up is harder to compensate. Now, what's the reason for this change? Well, there are a couple. First of all, the component bonuses will kind of match up, don't worry about it. The reason why I want this change implemented is because it adds more depth in the game and makes a lot of sense as well. So, first of all, it's mentioned in the cons in the proper thread, and if you follow the link in the description, like I mentioned it there, but I'll mention it here again. Plate mail is an underused item. It's only used in Frostfield plate as a recipe component. That's it. It's not used anywhere else. So giving more use to this item would be really nice. It adds more depth to the game. So when you pick up a plate mail, the enemy team will not know, are you going for a Frostfield plate or are you going for demonic, which is really good. Adds more flexibility and choice to the game. Also, another reason for this change, another side effect of this change is that you can disassemble the item now because, well, it requires no recipe. So you can disassemble it and use the components. You can leave Soul's Bulwark as it is, because minus armor or plus armor is always good, but you can use the Warp Cleft for a, say, charged hammer, for example, and you can use the plate mail for Frostfield plate. So again, more depth, more choices, better, and makes a lot of sense as well. And ring mail is already used in like 10 other recipes or something. So that's change number one. Change number two is to charged hammer and thunderclaw together. So basically, as it is now, you have a 20% chance to proc the lightning when you attack. You know, it's kind of random, and that's a problem because when you're trying to last hit creeps, the lightning just comes out of nowhere and can screw it up, or it can just not come at all ever. and won't increase your farming speed. So to fix it, I propose a change where we remove this random and make it a charge based item. So on attack you gain a charge, and on 5 charges you release a lightning, which is still once in every 5 attacks, just like with a 20% chance as it is, but more reliable. So those are my 2 changes that I'd like in the game. Those are the changes. I have many more ideas than that, but those are the two changes that I think undoubtedly should be in the game. I'm not even gonna fix that word. So if you could follow the links in the description, just vote, that would be nice. I would be very, very happy. So a hero that I forgot to mention in the last video is Blitz. He begins with B, but he wasn't in my list because he was new. But I did have time to play him. First of all, he's not a carry in any shape or form. He's not a carry, not even a semi-carry. He's not. He's just a support or a ganker, if you will. He doesn't do anything else. He's a terrible carry. He's decent as a support hero, but I would say he's underpowered. He definitely needs a buff, some kind of help. And I think the main problem and the main fix would be with his second skill. It's a problem that many developers have in game design is, oh, this would look cool and this works cool, I want this in the game, despite how it affects it. In other words, the second skill on Bliss is like, oh, it's like Corrupted Disciples W. It's so cool, but instead, it steals movement speed instead of damage. Yeah, that would be awesome. And it also deals damage too. Wow. Wow, that's a really cool skill, and it's connected with movement speed. Blitzes with movement speed, so yeah, let's implement it. Sounds cool, right? But the problem is, it may be cool, but this skill does not belong in this hero. The skill itself might be interesting as a concept, and maybe the numbers are okay, but it does not belong on this hero. Blitz is way too squishy to stay close to a target like that. So I think the second skill should be changed somehow. If you want to counter Blitz, well, the usual thing, of course, is always Mystic Vestments, and you can also grab a Tablet of Command to fix you up when you're slowed. Other than that, Blitz isn't really a problem. He's underpowered and needs some help. He's not a carry. He's not a carry. He's a support slash ganker, I would say. So let's move on to heroes starting with F. We ended with Engineer last video, and this time we're going with Fate. So Fate, I think she is balanced definitely because, well, some people think she's overpowered. She loses strength late game like, I don't know, almost no other hero, I think. She loses strength so fast that even if she gets 15 kills and 0 deaths, she will still be useless late game at some point. That's the problem with Fate. At the same time, she's an incredibly strong hero mid game when she gets that level 6 with her ultimate. She deals a ton of damage, and she can be kind of built as a carry. I don't know, people should explore that because of her third skill, which kind of keeps people in place, and her second skill, which stuns and definitely keeps people in place. I think there's some room to explore. However, Codex is key on Fate, and that means that she will be kind of useless late game, because Codex is the most expensive item in the game and one of the worst items late game. So I think Fate is balanced. If you're having trouble, first of all, of course, Mystic Vestments will help you out. And second, get Revelation. Get Revelation against Fate. Even if you place it in a terrible spot, and even if you lose a bound die, it's worth it. Try get a bound die, and it counters Fate completely. She can't do anything and she's useless. She could even be a bit underpowered. I think Fate could use a small buff to perhaps her late game potential, or maybe a small nerf to her invisibility, but that would just leave her in the same place, just gear it more towards late game and less towards early game. In any case, I think Fate is okay as a hero. Next we have Flint Beastwood. I think he's balanced. He deals a ton of damage, he deals it from range, that's all cool, but the problem is his squishiness and no kind of escape mechanism. Of course you can build him to have an escape mechanism, but he has his farming tools, but he's not really that crazy good. Yeah, perhaps he could use a small nerf, maybe, I'm not sure, but he's definitely not overpowered and you can deal with him. Void Talisman counters him completely, of course. He can't do anything, kind of, if you have a Void Talisman, or just focus him down. He's squishy, he will drop in a second. Even if he builds tanky, he's not that strong. So those are my thoughts on Flint Beastwood. He's a good hero, I like him. So Flux, next we have Flux. I think he's definitely underpowered. This hero needs some kind of help. Again, it's the same problem as I have discussed in my last video. You can also read whatever people are writing. I think they're trolling me, but whatever, I'll let them. So the problem I discussed in the last video. People think that Flux may be a good hero if the team builds around him. So if you get a team like Kraken and say Bombardier that benefit from Flux, from his ultimate, like if you have really good synergy, then the hero is just okay, and if you don't, the hero is just bad. So that's a problem. Like if you build around this hero, then he's only okay. He won't be overpowered. He will just be good, and that's the main argument people bring up for why Flux is balanced. But I think he's underpowered because unless you have a good team to go with Flux, he's bad, and that should be fixed. Being situational is good in some cases, but not in this one. Next we have Forsaken Archer. She's balanced, but I think she's a bit on the strong side. She could maybe use a small nerf, but Forsaken Archer is quite squishy, and Mystic Vestments deals with her quite well. Her ultimate has been buffed recently so that it can work on its own, and that really helps her. Basically, Forsaken Archer can now deal a lot of damage mid-game and early game with her skills, and of course a lot of damage late game. And the skills can also be used for farming. That is really nice, but her weakness is kind of similar to Flint Beastwoods, in the sense that she's squishy and she has no escape mechanism. So Forsaken Archer is okay. She's a cool hero, I think. Not underpowered for sure. She has its uses. Gauntlet, I don't know. I put him in category I don't know, because he's a lot based on skill shots, and he can be scary if he gets levels, but if he doesn't, he can also be kind of useful. Again, I'm not sure how this hero works really. If you get a Mystic Vestments and some health against this hero, then she won't be much of a problem. And it's kind of hard to carry with this hero, but I think it's possible. So I don't know, Gauntlet might be okay, might be, but I don't know for sure. I think he's a bit on the weak side, in my eyes at least. Next we have Gemini. I think he's underpowered after the nerfed into the ground by S2. That pretty much sums it up. The main problem with this hero is that you can go for two builds that negate each other. First, you can go for the stats build and build on your wolves, to improve your wolves, right? It helps you a lot early game and mid game, and you become pretty strong, and your wolves are also pretty good. However, when you switch to late game, you need the opposite. You don't need stats, you need damage and proc effects to go with your third skill. And of course, proc effects are useless when you're in wolf form, like the double wolf form. When you use your ultimate, no procs or no items that give procs will remotely work. So two builds on the hero that completely negate each other, and that's the main problem with Gemini right now. I don't know, he's just kind of a weird hero. I mean, even if they buff him back, people will still... Well, I think the key to fixing this hero is making both builds viable. Both making the stats build good, at the same time giving the option for the late game build to be good and perhaps better late game. As it is now, the hero is just weak and lacking, nerfed into the ground, kind of like Geomancer. Like, people still say, oh, Gemini is still good, but there are also people that say Geomancer is still good. I had this 15-1 game with him, I went in a bloodbath, but I don't know what kind of casual mode noobs you're stomping, but Geomancer is not a good hero. If you watch the last Honcast top 10, there's a Geomancer moment where he survives really well with his stagger, but he doesn't really do any damage. So just saying, Geomancer underpowered straight up. The reason is Magmas does what Geomancer does, but better. Much better at that. So if you like Magmas and you think that something's wrong with Magmas, you can try Geomancer, but I just think he's underpowered, needs some help. I mean, Portal Key is a key item on Geomancer, and I still tried to give him a Staff of the Master effect, but problem with Staff of the Master is that it's just a terrible item. So this hero needs some kind of help. I'm not sure what exactly to change. I think his ultimate needs to be much easier to land, because even if you do land it, I don't know if it's just me. I don't know, guys, do you have the same feeling that when you land your ultimate on Geomancer, you don't think, oh my god, I landed it, they're now so screwed over, they're all dead now. Like, I never had that feeling. When I landed my ultimate, it's just, oh, I did some damage and stun. Yeah, cool. And when I don't land my ultimate, it's just completely useless. So yeah, again, that problem of skill shots. If you land it, it's just okay, and it's incredibly hard to land. So that's my view on Geomancer. Magmas does everything Geomancer does, but better. That's the problem. I think, Magmas has more survivability and deals more damage, so not really sure what Geomancer does. Maybe if Magmas is banned, like a different pick. Next we have Glacius. I think he's balanced. He's a good support hero. His aura helps everyone on the entire map, and he can carry. He can carry if you max out your Q and W. I mean, this hero is flexible, definitely. There's many skill builds on him. Glacius is just good. He's okay. So nothing much you can say about him. To counter Glacius, I am really not sure. Just kill him fast because he will drop really quickly. But other than that, he doesn't really deal much damage. He just helps the team a lot. You can't really counter that too much. Next we have Gravekeeper. I think he's balanced. He's balanced, and that's pretty much it. He's a pretty perfect hero. His skill, the second skill is pretty bad, like at any stage of the game. The only reason it was good when I started playing, like when Gravekeeper first came out and I made a video about him, I grabbed the second skill that explodes corpses because people didn't know how it worked and they walked near corpses by mistake. Now that people know that, they don't repeat the same mistake, and Gravekeeper second skill is just useless, but his other skills make up for it so much that he's actually a pretty strong hero. And the way to counter him, I honestly don't really know. I mean, you can get Ghost Marchers to get out of his ultimate. Same goes for Tablet, and Void Talisman can help you quite a bit, but other than that, he's an okay hero, but yeah, get some physical armor. His main problem isn't his magic damage if he gets too strong in a game, like with farm. But I think he's balanced, doesn't really need any help. Gunblade. Well, this hero is interesting to say the least. I would say he's underpowered. I mean, just compared to other carries. There are other carries that do stuff better. He's not underpowered much, he's still a really strong hero if played right, but I mean, he's kind of like a melee version of Flint Beastwood, where he does good at melee range, while Flint Beastwood does good at long range. Well, long range is simply put better, hands down. That's the problem. Being ranged is always better than being melee. I mean, in this case, where he doesn't benefit from melee item bonuses, but he still counts as ranged. So yeah, Flint Beastwood is kind of like a better version of Gunblade. Gunblade is, I'll not blame him, label him as underpowered / balanced. He's okay, definitely not overpowered. If you need to counter him, well, get some armor. Void Talisman, of course, counters him completely, but that's all advice I can give you. He's not really that scary or strong. His Q helps him farm, but not as good as, for example, other heroes like Flint Beastwood. Next we have Hammerstorm. I think Hammerstorm is balanced. He can be played as a support, and he's flexible. He can be played as a carry. His skills have a lot of potential, even though it's not realized all the time. But Hammerstorm is a good hero. He's a decent hero. His stun is one of the best. His ultimate is great. With the right items, he can do very well. Just a good hero, I think. So, nothing much to say there. Hellbringer. I think he's balanced. That's right, I don't think that Hellbringer is underpowered. What I think people should do is try explore his third skill more. Now, his third skill reduces magic armor of opponents. I can even click on Hellbringer. See, it reduces magic armor by 3, 4, 5, 6, and also heals you for the damage the targets take. Now, I think people should start exploring on this skill more and building around this skill. The cooldown on it is only 10 seconds. Now, obvious item choice is Codex, because it deals a ton of damage right away, and it's magic damage as well, which is more damage, and you get healed quite well. don't ever go spell shards on this guy, because spell shards will not affect it unless the enemy has like a shaman's headdress. Spell shards does not make the magic armor go below 0, and life void will affect the target first, so it will subtract 6 magic armor, and then spell shards will try and subtract any more magic armor if the target has any left. So don't go for spell shards. But an interesting item choice I think people should try is Harkon's Blade. That item isn't magic armor penetration, but also magic armor reduction. So coupled with this skill, you can make it minus 11 magic armor, because if you remember, Harkon's Blade reduces magic armor by 5. So that's something you can explore on, and while dealing damage with Harkon's Blade, you will also be healing yourself quite a bit because of the skill. So that's something people should explore on, and your ultimate is just one of the best skills in the game because it has a huge AoE and it goes through Shrunken Head. So its stuns can cancel a lot of stuff, and the monster itself can be used for pushing. So I think he's a good hero, but people need to explore more. He's not really that much of a support hero, although he can be used as one. But if he gets some farm, I think he can be quite scary and good. Next we have Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah is overpowered. He could definitely use a nerf. He keeps players alive too good. He's just too good at keeping people alive, and one of the main problems with the guy is his ultimate. His ultimate, I think it lasts too long. It pretty much makes your team unkillable. Yes, there's magic damage that you can still deal, but usually it's not enough, and basically his ultimate is like 6 or 8 seconds of invulnerability, pretty much. Which is a problem, I think. It's a bit too strong. He could use a nerf. Jeremiah's too good. Keeper of the Forest. No, not this guy. I would say he's balanced, but he's a problematic and annoying hero. He's just annoying because he has invisibility and he can farm, and it's almost impossible to gank him. But even when he does get that farm, even when he does get 500 GPM, he's not that scary. But he's a hero that can push towers really well, and as imbalanced as it is, or as good as it is, or as different as it is, I think the game needs tower pushing right now. Pushing towers helps end the game faster. I think it's something very useful. Useful to have a hero like this, even though he's annoying to play. Not as annoying as the previous Keeper of the Forest. That was just bad. Next we have Kinesis. He's okay. I think he's balanced, but he could use a buff. I'll put it that way. He's definitely not on par. He has his uses. His first skill is really good as a disable. His second skill deals a ton of damage. His ultimate deals a crazy ton of damage, pretty much. He's definitely a useful hero in his third skill. If you explore an item builds, like I tried to play Kinesis as a carry. If you try exploring something else, I think people could work something out, but he's just a good hero. He can be played as a support as well. To counter Kinesis, you get Mana Battery because of his second skill, which he spams a lot. Mana Battery helps with that a lot, and of course, Mystic Vestments, because all of his damage is magic damage, pretty much. You can get Hellflower if you can, and Kinesis won't be able to do anything when he's silenced. He's literally useless, and incredibly squishy as well. So next we have Kraken. Kraken, I think he's balanced. He's pretty strong early and in mid game, but he's not that strong. But he can be. His skills are very good, if anything, and he farms pretty well. He's a tanky hero, but I really don't want to buff tanky heroes, even if they're a bit weak. I really don't. Stacking minus armor on Kraken works because of his first skill. So he can carry. At the same time, he can just be useful if he lands his ultimates. And Kraken is one of those heroes where if he does land a good ultimate, it's not just okay, it's really good in combination with other heroes. Like that problem with Flux. If Kraken lands his ultimate and Bombardier has an easier time landing his ultimate, that's really good. It's not like Flux where it's just okay. Because Kraken is, even without that, already strong. So that's my view on him, balanced, and to counter him, oh, just get some armor, I suppose. But Kraken usually isn't too much of a problem. You can go for damage items to take him down faster, if he's going for a tanky build, but don't worry about him too much. Next we have Legionnaire. with the recent change to spin, I think that here is in a perfect spot. He's not as much luck based and just balanced overall. To counter Legionnaire, of course, you get Void Talisman. Period. Also, another good item, perhaps, to counter Legionnaire is Null Stone. To counter his second skill so that he cannot get close, so that he's forced to use his portal key. And kind of a counter to Legionnaire is Mock of Brilliance, because he relies so heavily on portal key, and Mock of Brilliance cancels that with the AoE damage. Next we have Lord Sulfuras, overpowered. This jerk is freaking ridiculous. This guy's ridiculous. He is way too hard to beat early game with his second and third skill if you max those out. He's just way too hard to beat, period. I think even Treble would struggle against him mid. That's how strong Lord Sulfuras is. He's just overpowered, I think. Think of it this way. If Lord Sulfuras lost his Q, like forever, like Q was just removed from the hero, like he would no longer have the Q skill, he would still be a good pick sometimes. He would still be okay. Like, seriously, a hero loses his skill and he's still okay. So some kind of nerf is required to his second skill, either an increase in mana cost or... I mean, it's ridiculous to the point where the hero is not meant for jungling, like, clearly he's not that good in jungling. If he gets an unlucky stack, he won't be able to do anything, but he can jungle. And I don't really like that. The hero could use a nerf to his second skill especially. He's a bit too strong early and mid game. I know he loses strength late game quite a lot and can be countered quite easily late game, but still he's a bit too strong early and mid game. A bit too strong. I don't know, I don't mind if S2 buffs his late game but nerfs his early and mid game. He's overpowered as a Mage Bane. Mage Bane, this hero, oh my god. I will say I don't know. I don't know, he might be balanced, he might be a bit overpowered. But I will honestly say, if this hero is nerfed to Drunken Master tier, like hit with the nerf bad, then poured gasoline over him and stuff like that, kicked in the stomach as well, like if he's nerfed into uselessness, I will honestly not mind. He's just a really annoying hero to play against, and really boring to play with. His second skill basically is a free escape. It's pretty much anything except really good CC, where he's disabled for like 10 seconds and you have perfect teamwork, then you can kill him. But so he's just annoying, and he turns any game into a farm game where you always have to worry, oh, where is that Mage Bane? He's probably farming right now. Just an annoying hero. I want him gone from Han, pretty much. I don't think he belongs. Next we have Magmus. I think he's overpowered as well. He could use a small nerf. He's just way too good. His first skill helps him survive and stuns at the same time. His second skill helps him juke and survive in a disjoints, and it can help him farm. His third skill helps him farm really well. His ultimate is just pure crazy. So Magmus is, I think, a little bit too strong. He could use a small nerf. He's way too useful. So especially compared to the Geomancer, I think he could use a small nerf in some form or another. I know some people might think, oh, he's from Dota, there's no way we can nerf him or touch him. That's the wrong thing. I mean, the wrong way to think. You should nerf heroes that deserve it, not because they've been nerfed in some other game that is similar or have not been nerfed. Next we have Malkin. I think he is... I think he's balanced, but he might be overpowered. I'm not sure. He's really strong and people don't realize it. His ultimate goes through magic community and disables, which is only a few heroes in the game can do that, and Malkin does it in AoE like Hellbringer does. So that's a bit too strong, I think, and he can carry very well as well. He can also farm very quickly with his second and first skills. So Malkin is kind of a dangerous hero, but he's not used too much competitively, and people think that he's balanced. People don't think of Malkin as being a big problem, so I guess it's okay. By the way, counter to Magmus, I forgot, Mystic Vestments. Counter to Sulfuras, try to get more damage, I really don't know. So yeah, Malkin, people think he's okay, and I'll leave him alone. I'll put him at balanced. Next we have Martyr, he's underpowered. The thing with Martyr is that he relies on a partner way too much. If he's with a partner, he's okay. Again, the same problem. If he's without a partner, he sucks. So that's the problem with Martyr. I think he should be buffed with a partner and remain the same without a partner, which is pretty much useless without one. So Martyr could use some help as a support hero. He has no real disable, so that's also a problem. Next we have Monster Farms. I honestly think he's balanced. He has a good mix of skills, not too strong, not too weak, has his uses, has no escape mechanism, so he's kind of squishy. We used competitively, so I don't see a big problem with this hero. You don't really need to counter him, he's just there, and he's just a good hero, like a decent one. So, in the right hands, he can be really strong. Next we have Midas. Midas, I think he's balanced right now. He was overpowered before, definitely, and he's balanced now after all the nerfs, with only 12 starting agility, which is... How much does Pebbles have? 9. Okay, not the lowest, but pretty close. To counter him, you just get Mystic Vestments pretty much. And try to do your best, but yeah, Midas is now in a good spot, I think. Not too weak and not too strong. Just a good hero, kind of like Master Farms now. So, balance definitely. Next we have Monarch. Monarch, I think she's underpowered. I really think she's underpowered. I'm not sure why were people complaining about Monarch so much, and she was picked competitively as well, a lot, and now she's not picked that much. I didn't really see before why people complain about this hero so much and requested this hero repeatedly to get nerfed, and even more, and even more. Like, I honestly could not understand that, and I thought, well, probably S2 will listen to these complaints and nerf this hero, and then nobody will use it after they realize it's not that good. Like, people complain about the first skill. It disables the target for 2.5 seconds. A single target, 2.5 second disable. How is that imbalanced by any means, or super strong? I don't get it. I don't get it. For example, if we take Witch Slayer or Polywalk Priest, their second skills disable for a much longer time. Why is Monarch's skill such a problem? I mean, Pestilence stuns for like the same duration, and it's a stun, it's not just a disable, and then it also slows. And in an AoE, like, what's the problem? It's not that good. Second skill is okay, but unless you max it out, it does more bad than good because it stuns for a long duration. Her third skill is also good. It's a slow, yeah, it deals damage, but it's not crazy by any means, and it's not a stun either. Her ultimate is useful, but not too often, so I'm not sure what's the problem with Monarch and why people complain about this hero, but as I see this hero now, it's kind of underpowered. Not useless like Drunken Master, but underpowered. Next we have Monkey King. Oh god, this guy. This guy, I would say he's balanced, but could maybe use a little nerf. He's strong. It's not just his combo, because people think his combo is just WE, but that's not really true. His combo is WE and then 2 of Q. He can deal a lot of damage, and all 3 of his skills can be used for farming as well, so he can become quite scary. He's an agility hero, he can get farmed. With a bit of items, he can carry quite well too. So just a very strong hero overall. Perhaps could use a small nerf, but I wouldn't put him in overpowered. To counter Monkey King, now that's interesting because I'm not really sure. If you get silence in form of a Hellflower, then, or just disable him, then he's pretty much done. That's my thought. And by the way, to counter Monarch, get a Null Stone, because her first skill is, yeah. Other than that, countering Monarch isn't really required. Next we have Moon Queen. This hero, I think she needs a buff on her range. Like, really needs a buff on her range. She's underpowered. She's a good hero, decent one, but I've never really seen a Moon Queen be, oh my god, that's overpowered, that's too strong. Oh my god, no, never have I seen a Moon Queen like that. Moon Queen is always possible to take down. Always. And she's never really that super strong. And I think the main reason is her range, which is way too low. Way too low. It's like being melee, but without having the melee bonuses. So she has been recently buffed. I haven't played her much, but I still think it's maybe not enough. Okay, I'll put her underpowered / balanced, but definitely not overpowered. She could be balanced, okay, I agree. Meraxes, this guy, well, this guy is balanced. If he gets farm, he can become really, really scary and strong. If he doesn't, he can still be useful. Just a good initiation slash I don't know, just initiation and I guess semi-carry at some point. To counter Meraxes, and by the way, to counter Moon Queen, you can get a Shrunken Head, or of course Mystic Vestments will help a lot. Perhaps even a Mana Battery, because she spams her Q quite a lot, but not really. So Meraxes, to counter Meraxes, well, obviously you need to get Mystic Vestments to counter his ultimate conduct and the first skill, but this guy doesn't really need countering. Just deal some damage, and when he uses his ultimate, either get away or just focus him down fast if you can. So, not really an issue, I think, Meraxes. He's an okay hero, tanky, but not as tanky as, say, Balfagor, which is a bigger problem. So, I'd say balanced. Next we have Myrmidon. This hero, I think he's balanced. Now, hear me out here. If he misses his skills, he's absolutely terrible awful. Just like with any skill shots, pretty much skill shot heroes. But the thing with this hero that is different is that if you don't miss your skill shots, it's not just okay, it's a little bit better than okay. Like if you miss, I mean, if you land your skills, then the hero is good. So that's why I think Myrmidon is just a good hero and not underpowered like other skill shot heroes. If you land the skill shots, you're actually doing good, which I think how all the skill shot heroes should be. And to counter him, of course, get Mystic Vestments. No question about that. His third skill also reduces magic armor, so it helps even more against him. But otherwise, the hero is pretty squishy. Next, we have Nighthound. Obvious counter, first of all. Obvious counter. Revelation. Get Revelation or you're a troll. I think the hero is balanced. He can carry, and I think people should try explore this hero as a support hero. I mean, his Cloud skill is insane. It's insanely good. It slows, it silences, it makes you miss an attack. It's just an insanely good skill. And he can always remain invisible with his ultimate, because like dying is a huge problem in support heroes. This won't be a problem for Nighthound. His other skills are useful, and he deals quite a bit of damage, like quite a bit. He's a really strong hero, and basically forces the opponent's team to get some kind of revelation. So I think he's balanced, not overpowered, but not underpowered either. Nomad. Oh, this guy. Nomad. I would say balanced / overpowered. He could use a nerf. He's way too strong. Like, he dishes out way too much damage, I think. Mid-game. He's kind of weaker late game, I think. But if you get a good farm, he's still pretty strong late game. Just his skills, the combination of skills, they're just way too good. His ultimate isn't that hard to land, and when you land it, it's just amazing. His first skill is invisibility, second skill is invisibility, and third skill is a critical strike. This hero is a bit too strong, I think. With the recent change, people now man up and use W instead of E, but it deals a ton of damage. That's kind of a problem. So I think this hero could perhaps use a small nerf, but he's not too overpowered, I would say. Next we have Nymphora. I think she's overpowered. Way too good of a hero, simply put. She can heal, she can stun, she can restore mana, and she can teleport all over the map. Enough said. Some kind of nerf is required. It's never ever bad to have this hero on your team. Her skill shot, by the way, is a good example of a skill shot. If you miss it, it's bad, but if you do hit it, it's really good. I really think that this hero could use some kind of nerf, because she doesn't need items. She can restore health, she can restore mana, she can do it to her allies as well. And yeah, she doesn't really need items. Perhaps a nerf to her ultimate. I mean, it's ridiculous being able to teleport yourself and some allies all over the map. Really. The counter Nymphora, I really don't know. Shrunken Head and Hellflower. And Nymphora will drop, but those are really strong items. You can try get Mystic Vestments, but the main problem with this hero isn't really magic damage, but that she stuns you and then 10 heroes just jump on you and you can't really do anything. Like the damage she deals after the stun, even with auto attacks, is also really good. Perhaps nerfing her stat gain a little bit? Perhaps. Last but not least, we have Ophelia. Ophelia, I think she's balanced. She's in a good spot right now. She has an incredibly high skill ceiling, and if you don't reach it, even remotely, then she will be underpowered and kind of weak. But with the right items, my personal favorite is a Codex, she can be useful, very useful, and she can farm very well. She has a high skill ceiling, so I think she's in a good spot right now. A small problem with Ophelia is kind of a problem with Fairside as well, which I won't go over in this video, but is the concept of random creep spawns. Creep spawns in the jungle are so random, they can either screw you over or help you a lot. So that's kind of a problem, something to think about in your free time. And I'm not sure what's the way to fix it. If you just make the creep camps static spawns, then it could be boring, but it needs some kind of fix. Otherwise, yeah, Ophelia, I think she's in a good spot. Perhaps could use a small buff, but she's definitely not underpowered. So, oh my god, my voice is so dying. So I think that was everything. Hope you enjoyed this chat at the bottom. No, seriously, my voice is dying. Remember, just by tapping SomaZ here, you can join my chat. Remember to check out my Twitter to see if there's a new video uploaded. Don't forget to vote in the poll. And of course, I have a second channel where I post games other than Hot, which I haven't posted there in a while now. Not sure when I will next time. So, see you next time for the balance video number 3 to cover the rest of the heroes, and perhaps a balance video to cover items. And please, if you can, go into the description, open the links, and go vote in the polls. I mean the yes/no polls for the suggestions, not the normal ones. Although you have to do that as well. And remember, don't private message me, because I won't see it. Once I get some money, do I want... But yeah, I don't see private messages, so try whisper me instead. Right now I'm in Do Not Disturb, so it's understandable. If you really want to contact me, private message me on YouTube. I will definitely 100% sure read it. So this was the balance video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time.